Okay, and we're back. So the last thing we did was look up the record of the nuns here. And so I think we're done in the library. So we still need to... Ooh, someone's gonna catch us. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. No. Oh my god, Smokey was right. Or whoever. I can't remember who said.
Shit. Option 1 of 3 ILL break for the stairs. They can't possibly catch me.
Oh god. I don't know. I think
going to do now?
it was...
Option 1 of 3 JUST wait for them to finish, then leave. It can't take that long, can it? Option 3 of 3 RUN for it. Go.
We are not speaking to them.
Go.
Absolutely not. I think they'll notice if we run too.
Option 1 of 2 I don't want to fall asleep on this. Option 2 of 2 I should.
Okay, maybe that's wrong. Okay, run, I guess?
Option 2 of 2 I shouldn't just sit here and watch. Player says if I can't get out of here before the sisters arrive.
Okay, I guess we're running.
Option 2 of 2 sister. Option 1 of 2 IT may not be awful if Zidana finds me first. Player says I can't tell with her. Option 3 of 3 ALL right.
Oh god.
3 ILL break for the stairs.
Oh, I hate this.
Possibly catch me.
Want me?
Rudger says what's that? Rudger says what's that noise?
Oh my god.
Says I need to get out of
Go! Don't just stop there and... Oh my god. Fucking idiot.
Shit, they're catching up.
Oh my god! I should've just waited. I kinda would... Oh, I hate this. Did they see me? They have to see me. Oh! Shit. Did they see me? How would they not see me? Okay, was that the...
Could they tell that was me?
They were right behind you.
My leg.
Maybe it was dark. Sorry. Oh no, is that how slow we're gonna walk? Okay. What is this? What am I doing? Oh no, is the trial already now?
Says Andreas. When are you coming home? Player says Dad. I'll be home soon. Option 1 of 3 I just need to finish this commission for the Abbey. Joseph says good, but finish that masterpiece, too. It's time for you to get on with your career. Player says yes, of course. Joseph says you're not going to quit this like you quit university, are you? Option 1 of 2 and oh, of course not. Joseph says good. If it weren't for the work I did for the rector, you never would have had the opportunity. Most people never get a second chance after they throw something away like that. Option 1 of 2 I know, Dad. Joseph says we'll see you when you get back. Player says sure. All right. Sabine says. Player says oh, it's you.
Oh, is that the lady we're gonna...
Says. Player says I only have the picture of you, the one my brother Daniel made. I really don't have any idea what you are like. Option 1 of
Oh, this is a dream, isn't it?
Pretty? Option 3 of 3 SO, what are you like? Sabine says why should that matter? Player says right. Everyone keeps saying that. Sabine says that's why I'm saying it to you now. Player says because I'm saying it to myself. Sabine says exactly. Player says Sabine says I'll see you soon, Andreas. For real, I mean.
Oh yeah,
Player says I suppose
this is
that's true.
a dream.
Until then. Prester John says welcome back, Andreas. It has been too long since you have graced this court with your presence. Player says apologies, your majesty. My mind has been preoccupied by a tragedy at Kearsarge Abbey. Prester John says what manner of tragedy? Player says the murder of a nobleman, a close friend of the Prince Bishop of Freising. My friend, Brother Pierrot, is the abbot's only suspect. I know that he could not have done it. Socrates says how do you know? Examine your assumptions, my son.
Because of the science of an autopsy?
Player says in addition to having no motive and violence not being part of his character,
Exactly.
not physically capable of the act. He is of limited strength and has a palsy in his hand that makes holding a paintbrush difficult. It's inconceivable that he would have the strength and resolve to kill the Baron with a blow to the head. Saint Grobian says a whole lot of inconceivable shit happens on this hell of an earth. Andreas, option 1 of 2 I just don't believe he could have done it. There has to be a better explanation. Option 2 of 2 I do not deny that it is possible, but I believe it is extremely improbable.
I don't think it's possible. Yeah, I really don't believe that an old man like that could overpower
I just don't believe he
a younger man.
There has to be a better Beatrice says so what do you intend to do about it? Player says when I'm brought before the Archdeacon, I'll tell him what I know about other people who had motives to kill the Baron. I have to believe he'll see there are much more likely suspects than Pierrot.
Oh, I feel bad for everyone in this game though,
This task upon yourself.
except the Baron.
Option 1 of 3 I have to save Brother Pierrot's life. He has no one else to help him. Option 2 of 3 I want to
That's
find
true
him.
too. I really don't care about the Abbey that much.
Socrates says your love for and devotion to him speak well of your character. A man who is humble before his elders honors also his gods. Saint Grobian says of course you'd say that, old man.
You don't look like a spring chicken yourself.
Beatrice says he is right, though. If Andreas doesn't help him, no one will.
Yeah.
Player says exactly. I understand why the brothers and sisters cannot act against the abbot, but I must do something. Saint Grobian says why does that shit for brains abbot care about the death of a useless bard like Lorenz Rothvogel, anyway?
Good point.
Option 4 of 4 powerful people. Option 2 of 4 The Baron had many good qualities. Option 4 of 4 powerful people get upset when other powerful people are murdered. This could threaten the existence of the Abbey.
That's true.
Grobian says oh no, the Abbey. Who give a damn about these critical assholes? Beatrice says in any case, Andreas' ability to prevent Pierrot's death depends on the judgment of the Archdeacon. Wise or foolish, corrupt or just, the Archdeacon will be the first and possibly final arbiter of Pierrot's guilt.
I hate that. Should be more people.
Andreas must win the Archdeacon to his side using the tools favored by men such as him.
Like what?
Option 1 of 4 reason. Option 2 of 4 wisdom. Option 3 of 4 authority. Option 4 of 4 honesty. Option 1 of Saint Grobian says Pa. When's the last time you met a man who was truly ruled by reason?
True.
Option 1 of 3 wisdom. Option 1 of 3 wisdom. Option 2 of 3 authority. Option Beatrice
Wisdom?
says wisdom can be shared, but the audience may not comprehend it. Option 1 of 2 authority.
It's gonna be authority, isn't it?
Despite your talent, you are merely an artist.
Oh.
He
So
has-
nothing
You
then.
have no authority with him. Player says honesty. Socrates says you must be honest in all things.
Yeah, so nothing. None of those
Not
things.
willing to accept the truth. And the cost of honesty can be high. Player
I
says
bet.
reason, wisdom, authority, and honesty cannot triumph. What am I left with? Beatrice says hope. Saint Grobian says lies. Socrates says truth.
Yeah.
Prester John says above all, faith in providence. Well, what do you plan to tell the Archdeacon, Andreas?
So are like these people representing his subconscious as he talks to himself in his dreams? Like it? I really doubt that he's just hanging out with a saint and Socrates. And Beatrice, is that from Dante's Inferno? Maybe? I don't. What's Beatrice from?
Player says there were other people in Kearsarge and Tassing who had motives to kill the Baron.
So many people.
The widow Kemperin despised Lorenz for maiming her late husband.
I would be too.
Socrates says maimed how?
He
Player
literally
says
beat him up.
Ethan savagely following an argument about trespassing on the Kemper's farm.
Yeah. He was in the wrong and then he just beat him up instead of apologizing.
Injuries were so severe that they never truly healed, and he needed a cane to walk. He died less than a year ago. Adelia is certain it's because of the wounds he received that day. Prester John says why did the two quarrel? Player says my understanding is that it was simply an argument about trespass that got out of hand. Beatrice says and now I suppose the she will lose their home. My apologies, his home.
The little ink splatter with his.
Prester John says for what reason? Should an aged widow not live out her remaining days in peace? Saint Grobian says she should, but she won't. She didn't squeeze out any little Kempers for old Rennig, so away the house goes. Beatrice
Damn,
says
that
yes,
sucks.
because women must fight to own property. We exist on the sufferance of men. Option 1 of 2 it is true, and terrible. It's easy to understand Adelai's anger. Beatrice says good. Perhaps if more men understood our just anger, the laws would change. Prester John says a good man does not sit idly by while injustice flourishes around it.
These are all very nice sentiments.
Saint Grobian says what the hell is a half-trained artist with half a university degree going to do against the might of the Holy Roman Empire? Idiots.
Yeah.
Socrates says you have established a motive for the widow, Andreas, but there is another matter that requires inquiry. While women and men are equal in most natures, women are weaker in strength. How could a woman of Adelai's age overpower?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I don't think she could have done it either.
Prester John says I
was thinking it was Lucky.
Have you found anything that she could have used to kill the Baron? Player says no, not yet. Prester John says if you wish to convince the Archdeacon that an
I don't want to convince her. She suffered so much, and so did her husband.
Are there any others you suspect? Player says Lucky Steinauer hated the Baron for the death of his daughter.
Also justified.
Socrates says did the Baron kill her? Player says no. He seduced her and made her certain promises about their future together. She was with child when the Baron left. Lucky and Agnes said they would find her someone to marry. Beat tried to end the pregnancy using her mother's medicine but the result was fatal.
Damn. Very timely, actually.
Saint Grobian says seems an awful lot of fuss over a little affair.
Over, like, just topical-wise.
Beatrice says that doesn't seem to have been the intention. Socrates says what led you to this conclusion, Andreas? Player says I saw him pray at a secluded grave near the old salt mine in the woods. Carved in the gravestone were the words, to innocence.
Yeah.
Beatrice says surely Lucky and Agnes could have found a man to marry her. She's hardly the first woman to have been abandoned with child. The town would have accepted her. Socrates says even if that is true, it must have been distressing to be abandoned by her seducer.
Yeah, if she was in love with him.
Beatrice says certainly some in the town would have judged her for it. Saint Grobian says oh, who cares? What does it matter? Beatrice says if you're a man, a nobleman.
Exactly.
Yes, it may not matter at all. It's quite different for the woman involved.
Yeah, it still is, actually.
Option 1 of 3 WELL, whatever the rest of the town thought. Clearly Lucky didn't hold it against his own daughter. Option 2 of 3 it is certainly more complicated for women than it is for men. Perhaps Lucky thought that unfair. Option 3 of 3 if she couldn't bear the consequences, she shouldn't have lain with him.
Oh, shut up. That...
Option
Wow,
3
that's like the piece of shit
Option
option.
1 of 3 WELL, whatever the rest of the town thought. Clearly Lucky did. Option Socrates says unfair or not, it is the most basic difference between the sexes. Beatrice says the injustice lies in how we treat the consequences of sex, not in noting their differences. Our bodies
Wow,
are
that was a
nothing
really
apart
good
from
line.
them. Socrates says Andreas, do you believe Lucky would have killed the Baron to avenge his daughter?
Maybe.
Prester John says the desire for revenge is easy to understand.
Yeah.
Even if Socrates says that is motive, then, but by what means could Lucky have killed the Baron?
He's really strong.
Says I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but he's clearly physically capable of the act. Prester John
He could have
says
used
it is
anything.
compelling, but that alone is unlikely to convince the Archdeacon of the instrument of the Baron's death. Are there any others you suspect? Player says Prior Ferenc feared the Baron would report his occult interests to inquisitors.
Wow. I forgot about Ferenc, too. Baron. Such a piece of shit.
Player says Prior Ferenc and the Baron shared a fascination with the occult texts. The Baron was pressuring the Prior into performing a ritual for him while he was visiting Kiersau. When Ferenc refused, the Baron threatened to turn him into the Inquisition. Socrates says how did you come by this knowledge? Player says I found written evidence. A letter from Ferenc to the Baron in which he discusses all of these matters. Prester John says it is a dangerous thing, a monk dabbling in the occult. His very soul could be in danger. Saint Grobian says forget the soul. He could have been defrocked, excommunicated, even killed. All for a little curiosity. Better to stay stupid and ignorant. That's what I say hee. Beatrice says we're well aware. Option 1 of 3 ALL of this worry over dangerous books started in the University of Paris. It shouldn't even be an issue out here. Prester John says whether the proclamation was made by a bishop of Paris or by the Pope himself, the danger. Prior Ferenc feared loss of his status, his life, and even God's grace. Socrates says men have killed for less. How might the prior have accomplished the deed?
Also
Player
pretty.
says I am not certain. I haven't found anything that I think he could have used.
We haven't found the weapon. Oh gosh.
Prester John says it will be a challenge to convince the Archdeacon that a prior committed a murder this foul. If you mean to suggest that Ferenc is a suspect, you must find a weapon to convince the Archdeacon. Are there any others you suspect? Player says I've found no other suspects.
Matilda?
Prester John says you have brought a worthy mystery before this court. I pray to God we have granted you the insight you need to face the coming challenge.
God, we're not gonna find out who it is, are we?
I am prepared to meet. Beatrice says before you go, Andreas, there is one more thing to consider. You will be summoned to the Archdeacon to tell him what you know. But you need not tell him everything. Option 1 of 3 I think I understand. Option 2 of 3 WHAT. Saint Grobian says she means you should only tell him about people you don't know.
No.
Beatrice says that's one way of putting it.
Oh.
Socrates says there is a place for a noble lie. This is not one of them. Beatrice says why? The Baron is dead. All of the people with a motive to kill him suffered, either directly or indirectly, from his wickedness. Simply mentioning a name to the Archdeacon may endanger them, whether they had anything to do with the murder or not. Saint Grobian says right. No point throwing everyone waist deep into shit hee. Prester John says I protest any attempt at deception, but you must ultimately follow your own conscience, Andreas. Little time remains before you must stand before the Archdeacon. Use it wisely. Option 1 of 3 I must. Prester John says until we meet again, Andreas. God be with you. Player says and also with you, Your Majesty.
This is so scary. Oh no.
Go to bed. Player says I should find someone to eat with.
Okay, I think we should probably go to Matilda and
Clara says Andreas.
Cecilia.
There is a brother from the Abbey.
Oh god, is it one of the people I caught?
WHICH brother. Clara says he did not tell me his name. The big man who does the shop. He seems quite rattled. Option 1 of 2 THAT doesn't bode well. Clara says please, speak to the brother. He's just outside.
I feel like my life's just about to get
Option 1 of 3 of course.
harder.
Wojslav says Andreas.
Oh, it's not him.
Christ. There you are. Option 1 of 3 brother Wojslav. What's Wojslav says it's the Archdeacon.
Oh no. God.
He's questioning everyone who knew the Baron and brother Pierrot. I've already told him the little I know. He expects to speak with you today at Nones. He requested you, specifically.
Oh good lord. Oh, I hate this.
At Vespers to try to warn you and you never showed up. Where were you all night?
Don't worry about it.
Option 1 of 2 JUST. Option 1 of 2 JUST. Out.
You know how it is.
Wojslav says no. I'm a monk, for Christ's sake.
My brother in Christ, I'm a monk.
Anyway, he's questioning everyone in the chapter house and he's keenly interested in you.
What? I'm just a guy.
He say why? Wojslav says it's no secret
Oh.
you've been poking about the town and the abbey, sticking your nose in the rot.
Someone's gonna solve this.
Or Pierrot's neck will meet the sword. Option 1 of 2 I've done my best with the time I've had. Option 2 of 2 player says if only I'd had a couple more days. Wojslav says whatever happens, Pierrot knows you've been working hard on his behalf. And
Oh, I love Piero so much.
Only. Andreas.
What?
Option 1 of 2 WHAT is it? Option Wojslav says it's just, you know as well as I do the Baron was not a good man.
Yes.
I'm not saying he deserved what he got, just.
He did.
Hard about what you tell the Archdeacon, and who you tell him about.
I know.
You understand?
Yes.
Player says you don't need to worry, I've found nothing that implicates you. Option 1 of 2 while you didn't do it. Option 2 of 2
Don't do
smiles
that.
encouragingly. Wojslav says it's not me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shout. You don't deserve that. All I'm saying is, if in your searching you heard anything about a certain sister, I'd ask you to keep it to yourself.
God, I forgot what sister he was hooking up with.
Option 1 of 2 I'll do what
Oh,
I can
Matilda?
to sister
Oh.
from censure.
Oh god.
Option 1 of 2 I'll do what I can to protect Sister Matilda from censure.
But she's like physically able to kill him.
Option 2 of 2
Oh god, oh god, oh god.
Option 1 of 2 I'll do what I can to protect sister. Option 2 Wojslav says I wouldn't ask you to lie, Andreas.
Yeah.
Be Christian. Only consider who your words put at risk. Be well,
It's the worst.
Andreas. I will pray for Pierrot's deliverance tonight.
Hmm.
You should as well.
Hmm. I just want to play with the chickens.
Big Yerg. Peter. Peter says Andreas. Got
Oh
two
god, no.
Option 1 of 2 so long as Clara won't Option 2 of 2 per Peter says suit yourself. Gertner House. Big Yerg. 10
Okay,
comments.
let's go to the Abbey. And talk to, Cecilia.
Johann Bauer Farm.
That's all the... Hmm.
Upper
Okay.
Attic. Prioress House.
There she is.
Cecilia. Cecilia says God bless you, Andreas. Player says God bless you. Cecilia says is there something I can help you with? Option 1 of 2 I need to talk to you about Sister Matilda. Cecilia says. I
Oh,
was
she
only about
knows.
to go in the library. I should have known you wouldn't listen.
Well, yeah, we're a main character. Of course, we're not gonna listen.
What happened to Sister Matilda was tragic. Player says what did happen to Sister Matilda? The records only said that she left the Abbey for some time. Cecilia says I omitted the details from our written records for several reasons, none of them noble. Lawrence, the Baron, tried to seduce Sister Matilda. She rebuked him several times, so one
Good for
morning
her.
he attacked her in the meadow on her
Oh,
way
what
to
the
town.
fuck?
He dragged her into the woods. Sister Matilda is a strong woman, but her resistance...
Okay, so she couldn't overpower
When
him.
pilgrims to the shrine found her, she had been beaten so badly she could barely move.
Wow, what an absolute piece of shit.
Option 1 of 3 my god. Option 2 of 3 I am assuming the Baron didn't suffer any consequences for this attack. Cecilia says no, I knew he wouldn't. I also knew that bringing the attack to the attention of Father Matthias would put him in an impossible position.
Oh, so you helped cover it up? Silence it?
The Baron would suffer no consequences, but the abbot would have refused his continued patronage.
Yeah.
I concealed the assailant's identity from Father Abbot and had Sister Matilda taken to a hermitage near Mittenwald.
For what reason?
She stayed there under the care of sisters until she recovered and could
Oh.
return.
Wow, was that bad that she had to, like,
Option
be hospitalized, basically?
She deserved better than to be shuffled away to a hermitage. Option 1 of 3 Why you really don't think the abbot would have taken action against the Baron? Option, Cecilia says Andreas, if you want me to tell you that I think Sister Matilda killed the Baron, I won't. Seeing him was hard for her, of course. She defended her virtue from the Baron but her injuries were severe. Her body recovered in time. Her mind. I don't know if it ever will. She still fights him. In her dreams, she wakes in the night, screaming, soaked in her own sweat.
Well, I'm glad he died.
It affected her, yes. It still affects her. That doesn't mean she wanted to kill the Baron. It certainly doesn't mean she actually did.
No, but I feel like we need to find the weapon to see who could actually have wielded it.
I believe that truly, Andreas. She is respected and beloved by this community for good reason. Option 1 of 2 I think Brother Wojcislaw knew the Baron attacked her. Player says he cautioned me against bringing her up with the Archdeacon. Cecilia says no, he didn't know. Perhaps it will come to light now that the Baron has been murdered, but she didn't tell him before. Option 1 of 2 but their relationship is more th.
It's more, she's...
Option 2 of 2 I see. Cecilia says do not mention Sister Matilda to the Archdeacon.
Oh
Andreas.
god.
I do not believe she could have done this.
Oh my god.
Option 1 of 3 JUST because you believe it doesn't mean Option 1 of 3 JUST because you believe it doesn't mean it's so. Cecilia says pray upon it if you need to. You will see the truth. God bless you, Andreas.
I feel bad for everyone.
Convent Garden.
Like, literally all of them were victimized by the Baron. And...
Convent Garden.
it's hard. What was this again?
Player says this door must lead into the rest upper
Okay, there's Matilda.
Matilda says God bless you, Master Maler. Player says may I ask you some questions, Sister Matilda? Matilda says you know Mother Cecilia doesn't like us talking to
This is necessary.
Option 1 of 3 THIS concerns the murder of the Baron. Matilda says yes. It's tragic, but what does it have to do with me? Player says I know about the attack, about why you went to a hermitage. Matilda says. I see. So you think I killed the Baron? Option 1 of 3 it has a strong motive. Option 3 of 3 I am not sure. Matilda says. Baron Rothvogel had an appetite for young women. Neither his marital vows nor the vows of the women seemed to matter much to him. When I was on my way to town one day, he surprised me in the meadow and made his interests clear. Option 1 of 2 Do you walk to town alone? Option 2 of 2 Let her continue. Matilda says I refused his advances. I thought that would be the end of it. This was not enough, because he did the same thing the next day. I refused him again.
Oh,
Option
God.
1 of 2 why didn't you tell Mother Cecilia? Father Matthias.
That would have put her
Option
in
2
a
of 2 let her continue.
put both of them in a bad position, like Cecilia said.
Matilda says I thought if I was patient the problem would leave with him. I never thought that the Baron was capable of doing what he did. On the third day, he attacked me on my way through the meadow. He dragged me into the forest where he could have his way with me. I managed to badly scratch his neck. It saved my virtue, but it enraged him. He beat me until he was exhausted and he left me there in the woods. Option 1 of 2
An absolute dipshit.
Option 2 of 2 say nothing.
It's a miracle. Oh, don't interrupt her.
Cecilia had me removed from Kiersau for my safety until I could recover. The wounds to my body have healed, but the attack has left a lasting injury in my mind. Option 1 of 2 I have to say this sounds like a strong motive to kill the Baron. Option 2 of 2 SO. Kill the Baron. Option 1 of 2 I have to. Matilda says I was angry. I was filled with hate, yes. But it's been years. Mother Cecilia and Father Thomas helped me move past the anger, to find love in this community. Player says Father Thomas. Matilda says yes, Father Thomas is our confessor. We can talk to Mother Cecilia about our problems, but only a priest can hear our confessions.
Okay. Interesting.
Option 1 of 2 Sister Matilda, did you receive a strange note recently? Matilda says yes. How did you know? Option 1 of 2 Baron Rothvogel received one. Player says
I don't remember this.
Matilda says here. Look for yourself. Matilda says remember what he did. The violence you suffered. The red bird flies. Madains. Chapter. Player says Rothvogel, the red bird. Matilda says I found it in my bed in the nuns' dormitory. You can keep it if you'd like. Player says in your bed? Who could have put it there? Matilda says the only people allowed beyond the garden are the sisters. I can't imagine any of them making this. Mother Cecilia and Sister Illuminata have beautiful handwriting, but both of them have been so kind to me.
Is it the typesetters?
Player says thank you for your time. Matilda says God bless you, Master Maler. Matilda. Journal.
I really... Okay, so that's like the second time. This... Where... Oh, we should check the
Lower Abbey,
journal.
Church.
Oyster. Hello. Okay, so that was the second note that has really good...
Large garden.
And it can't be...
Refectory, Sebat. Sebat says Andreas, I am sorry about what is happening to Brother Pierrot. I do not know him well, but I find it hard to believe he could have killed the Baron. Option 2 of 2 Do you have any idea who might have done it? Did you see anything? Sebat says sadly, no. Most mornings I spend my time reading in the courtyard but the rain made that impossible. And although the brothers are friendly, I do not know them well enough to speculate. I am sorry. If it would help keep your spirits up, I would like to offer to eat with you. Well, you and some of the townsfolk. I have become acquainted with the Albin family but do not feel comfortable making this offer. If you could approach them on my behalf, I would appreciate it. The Gospel says that man cannot live on bread alone, but from time to time, a little bread is required. Option 1 of 3 I need. Option 3 of 3 NOT now, but option 2 of 3 OF course. Talk to Gret and see who she wants to come along. Where should we meet you?
Seems like a really...
Sebat says at the shrine to St. Moritz. I'll see you there. Player says until then.
How are you doing? Oh.
Sebat says oh my. Andreas. Player says yes. Sebat says are these all of the mothers from Tassing and their children? Player says well, no. I don't think it's all of them. Gret says Helena Pfeifferin couldn't make it. It's a long walk up here in her condition. And Hetty said Hans was too big for stories. Sebat says stories? Option 1 of 2 I may have said something about your books. Berthold says I like stories.
Why? I'm pretty sure those are the people who wrote this letter. That guy, his
Marie says yes, maybe a little too much. Sebat says ha. All right. I can tell a story, but first let us pray together and eat. O Lord, thank you for bringing us together as you brought Jesus to his disciples on the road to Emmaus. With the breaking of bread between us, let us recognize each other as Christians and rejoice in our salvation through you. Amen. Player says amen. Sabat says, and I thank you and your husband for this bread, Gret. Gret says, my Ulrich always says that bread brings people together. Option 1 of 2, I don't know. I think we could see some real trouble in Tassing if you ever ran out. Option 2 of 2, I missed this when I was in Flanders. Brigitte says they don't have bread in Flanders. Wolf says wah. Berthold says where's Flanders? Marie says north, down by the sea. It's where the Muller's windmill came
Even
from.
their tech.
Els says it's true.
It can't just
They
be
have
stylistic.
them where the land is flat. Anna says I want to see them. Sabat says Father Gernot eats a white bread, does he not? Els says yes, the finest wheat is used for the abbot's bread. Paul says why? Els says the abbot is a very important man, Paul. Sabat says we have a bread in my home that we call Indra. We make it thin, round, and white and we put our food on top of it. We eat it with almost every meal. As you love the bread of your home, so I miss mine.
I really hope we get
Bread
information
says,
out of this.
what's the recipe? Maybe we could make
Are we
it.
seriously just talking about bread?
Sabat says thank you, but no. We use a fine grain that does not grow here, called option 1 of 2. Surely someday you'll go home and can have your fill of it. Option 2 of 2, I hope you find our local bread satisfying. Option 1 of 2, surely someday you'll go home and can have your fill of it. Option 2 of 2, I hope you find our local breads. Sabat says I do enjoy it, perhaps too much. I am becoming too accustomed to life in Rome, even life in these mountains. In truth, I can no longer remember the taste of Indra, not even the feeling of it in my mouth. It is the great danger that comes with the blessing of travel, living a life between worlds. Berthold says I don't want to talk about bread anymore. It's so
Me
boring.
neither. I want the truth.
Ursula says Bria. PPPPF. Marie says don't be rude, Bert. Sabat says I did say I would tell a story. Children,
Get that
have you
bread.
ever seen a Bible? Anna says Father Tom. Berthold says yet. Father Thomas has one. It's huge.
Mm,
Paul says my dad has one. It was printed in Bamberg. Sabat says very good. This is a Bible from my home that I brought to give to the abbot. Andreas, do you have a favorite story to illustrate from the Bible? Option 1 of 5 Adam and Eve at the tree of
oh
knowledge of good
god.
and evil. Option 2 of 5 Jacob wrestling with the angel.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Sabat says it is a powerful image. It speaks to us as we struggle to comprehend the divine. Our struggles are not as spectacular as Jacob's, but just as difficult, and may leave us transformed, as he was. Now then, children, do you know the story of Jesus feeding the multitudes? Berthold says fish and loaves. Anna says my mom and dad make loaves.
The kids are pretty
Sabat says
cute.
this is from our Bible, how we tell the story of how Jesus fed thousands from only a few fish and a few loaves of bread. Anna says why is everyone brown?
Oh my god, Anna, you just can't say that.
Sabat says because where I am from, everyone looks like me. Anna says why? Sabat says because we are all as God has made us. I know Tassing seems big to you, but the world is so much bigger than we can imagine. There are many people of many different colors all over the world. There are places where no one looks like you or me. Anna says really? Player says it's true. In Flanders I saw ships arrive from the New World. The people look and dress very differently from us. Differently from Brother Sabat. They make art out of gold that is so beautiful it outshines the greatest works of the Christian world. Berthold says Brother Sabat, did you know the Baron who was murdered? Marie
Finally. Oh my god.
Sabat
Bert saying what everyone was thinking.
Player says it came up when I was visiting the Druckers. Option 2 of 3 I think he's old enough to understand death. Option 3 of 3 I am sorry, Marie.
Is he old enough?
Option 2
How old
of
is
3 I
he?
think he's old enough to understand death. Option 3 of 3 I am sorry, Marie.
She doesn't look happy. I'll
Sabat
apologize.
says there's nothing to apologize for. We can't shield them from the world forever. I did not know him, Bert. But do you know the story of Lazarus? Berthold says No? Sabat says he was a friend of Jesus. He became sick and he died.
This artwork is really cool.
Ursula says die. Anna says hat. Sabat says but Jesus brought his followers to Lazarus' tomb. He prayed to God, and when they opened the tomb, Lazarus emerged, returned from the dead. Berthold says Jesus can bring people back from the dead. Sebat says he can, Bert. One day Jesus will bring us all back from the dead. Everyone who has ever lived and died will come together and be resurrected on Judgment Day.
I got an achievement, empty-headed, for... Oh!
Option
That's so
1 of
cute.
HEY. Option 2 of 2 say nothing.
Yeah, you can keep it. She's so cute! Oh. Oh my god, she's so cute.
Paul says even the Romans? Sebat says yes, the Romans too.
She's adorable.
Sebat says why did you ask about the Romans? Paul says I saw one come out of their tomb, like Lazarus. Else says what do you mean,
Excuse me?
Paul? Paul says well the ruins below the mill, they're Roman. And they all died a long time ago. But I saw one come out the other night. They were in white, like Lazarus.
Oh, we saw one of those in the beginning, running away from
telling stories, Paul.
the
They
thing.
shouldn't have been outside at night.
Abby.
Sebat says Andreas, what does he mean? Option 1 of 3 I don't know. It's troubling, to be sure.
No, I don't want to talk about occultism in front of all these people.
Sebat says what, really? Where? Option 1 of 2 the same place, by the Roman ruins. Player says maybe Paul did see a spirit of some kind. Sebat says,
I don't think it was a
very
spirit.
Roman if that is what he saw. I will pray on this. Apologies for that.
I think whoever was killed
but thank you for
the
sharing
Baron.
the meal with me today. I will be leaving for Rome soon, but I am glad to have spent some time. Gret says thank you, brother Sebat. It would. Don't forget to stop by the bakery before you go. I'm sure my husband will want to see you before you go. Sebat says I will. God grant you all health.
Oh no, oh. Oh, God. We have to go there already.
Chapter house to meet with the Archdeacon.
Can I go somewhere else first? I really, really want to decipher the
Lower
journal.
Abbey, church. Cloister.
Will it let me? Oh no.
Ulrich. Upper Abbey. Guy. Upper Abbey.
Oh, I thought I had to sneeze. I don't know about that. Oh. Okay. Wait. Wait, what am I doing?
Gerhard? As in the late brother Gerhard. Yes, yes. It can't be a coincidence.
Wow, you are so smart.
H-I-G-E-R
I
A-R-D. Brother Gerhard died sometime last year. How does this connect to him?
don't even.
Option 1 of 3 is it an anagram? Using Gerhard's name? Player says harried? Hardier? Where does the G go? God, I'm sure Edok would know. Maybe it's not an anagram. Hey, let me think. Option 1 of 2 did he use his name for an abbreviation? Player says that's a lot of letters for an abbreviation.
That's what I thought.
Cipher inside of a cipher. Perhaps, I don't know. Let me think. Why his name? And why? Gerhard. Option 1 of 2 DUTCH? No. Not Flemish or French. Player says let me think. Wait, maybe it's an abbreviation in a name. Gerhard is the name. What's HI? Haudet ignota? No. Hin illy lacrimi? Oh, my god. It's so much simpler. Hikai asset. Here lies. Here lies Gerhard. Gerhard's grave. I wonder if it has something to do with the Baron's murder. I should ask the abbot for permission to exhume the grave as
Achievement unlocked like a record, baby. I should ask the abbot for... Oh.
Old Bailey.
Oh. Wait.
Journal.
Open. Brother cemetery. Grave. Okay.
Bailey.
Not gonna make us miss the appointment, right?
Folkbert. Old Bailey.
Come on.
Animal pens. Player says Brother Gerhard's grave was disturbed recently. Ferenc must have buried something here. I need to dig up this grave if I want to know what he was up to. Option 1 of 3. I should get Father Gernot's permission first.
He's not gonna let us.
Option 3 perhaps Brother Folkbert would lend me a hand. Option 2 of 3. I bet Otto would help me if I asked.
I think he would, actually. Do we have time?
Otto. Otto says hey, Andreas.
Hey,
Andreas.
come with me.
Zimmerman House.
Is it really not gonna let me?
Town Commons. Otto. Hey, Andreas. Church and drugs.
Okay. Whoa.
Jacob says please state your name for our records.
Oh.
Option 1 of 3 Andreas Maler, journeyman artist from Nuremberg. Option 3 of 3 Andreas Maler, artist. Option 1 of 3 Andreas. Option 2 of 3 Andreas. Option 1 of 3 Andreas Maler, journeyman art. Option 2 of 3 Andreas, son of Joseph Maler, master artist from Nuremberg. Option 1 of 2 I am heading back to Nuremberg to finish my apprenticeship and open a workshop. It's the end of my wander jar. Jacob says very well. Thank you, Arnold, please write that down. I think we're ready to begin. Arnold says of course, your reverence. Jacob says now then, Master Maler, what was your relation to Lorenz, the Baron Rothvogel? Option 1 of 2 I only knew him for a day, but we were on friendly terms. Option
Nope,
2 of 2
we were not. We're not friends.
Jacob says would it be fair to say that you did not feel you knew him well?
That's fair.
Option 1 of 2 Why yes, your reverence. Jacob says that is unfortunate, but I'd like you to try to characterize the man for me. Option 1 of 3
Fucking piece of shit.
Option 3 of 3 a nobleman, for all of the good and ill that goes along. Option 2 of 3 confident, overbearing. Jacob says do you think someone would kill him for that?
Absolutely.
Option 1 of 2 someone, perhaps.
Well, not just that, but...
Option 1 of 2 someone, perhaps. Jacob says I will need more than perhaps. Someone had to have a reason. If not that, something else. Otherwise it makes my presence here somewhat difficult to explain. The Baron Rothvogel was murdered here, in this very room. Someone did it. Father Gernot believes it was one of his monks, Brother Pierrot. I have met with Brother Pierrot and questioned him at length. While it seems unlikely that a man of his age and temperament could murder the Baron, he was discovered in flagranti delicto. Option 1 of 2 say nothing. Option 2 of 2 he wasn't, though. The Baron was already dead. Jacob says stop talking. If you wish to advocate on behalf of Brother Pierrot, I suggest shutting your mouth until I ask you a question.
Oh,
Pierrot
dick.
had reasons to resent the Baron. The loss of his work, the insistence on discussing the writings of the troublemaker from Wittenberg, and as for his age and infirmity, I myself have read of many cases in which a man of modest strength succumbs to the temptations of the devil. Once seized by a devilish fever, the poor sinner gains an infernal power that allows him to inflict grievous wounds. Sometimes fatal. What I am saying is that in spite of the curious circumstances, Brother Pierrot is the most plausible perpetrator of this most vile act. I understand that you are on friendly terms with Brother Pierrot. You also interacted with the Baron both in the town and the Abbey. Did you witness anything that suggests someone else could have murdered Baron Rothvogel? Option 1 of 5 LUCK were argued with the Baron.
I really don't want to. None of these people, well, I don't know him that well, but I don't really care for him either, but I don't think anyone else.
were argued with the Baron. Jacob says who is lucky? Steinauer? I don't believe his name has come up during. Player says the town stonemason. Jacob says all right. What's the connection between the town stonemason and a nobleman from Worms? Option 1 of 2 LUCKY wanted to take revenge against the Baron for the death of his daughter, Beat.
That's
Jacob
true.
says did the stonemason believe that the Baron had murdered this young woman? Player says no. She was a suicide, but Lucky held the Baron responsible. Jacob says this is quite hard to follow, Master Maler. What does this have to do with the Baron and the stonemason? Player says on his last visit, several years ago, the Baron charmed Lucky's daughter, but left her behind. Sometime after the Baron left, Beat realized she was with child. The stonemason and his wife did their best, but Beat did not want to keep the child. She attempted to stop the pregnancy by way of her mother's medicine. Jacob says mother's medicine? Player says Agnes Steinaueren is the town midwife. Jacob says I see. Player says in the end, the medicine claimed her life. Jacob says in her unborn child with it, I presume. This stonemason, Lucky Steinauer, has held a grudge this whole time. Player says they argued about something, I know that. I witnessed it the morning the Baron arrived. Jacob says and how do you propose that this stonemason killed the Baron?
We don't have a weapon.
Yes, quite strong. Jacob says yes. Player says I am simply saying it's possible he could have committed the murder. Jacob says your opinion is noted. Master, is there anyone else you can think of who
Oh, can we submit multiple people?
Option 3 of 5 T. Option 3 of 5 THE Abbey's prior, Ferenc, was behaving suspiciously the day of the Baron's arrival. He may have had a motive.
Fuck
Jacob
it.
says that is an extraordinary claim. The Abbey
I know.
highly of the prior and he oversees both your and Brother Pierrot's work, does he not? Option 1 of 2 yes, your reverence. Jacob says an extraordinary claim requires extraordinary evidence for me to take it. Why should I take the word of an artist over a respected officer of this abbey? Player says I can provide evidence of prior Ferenc's motive. Jacob says please do so. Option 1 of 2 and the day that the Baron arrived, I secretly observed. Option 2 of 2 Baro and Rothvogel and prior Ferenc were exchanging letters about performing a magical ritual during the Baron's visit.
Okay, but if he didn't do it, then I don't feel good about potentially ruining his life just because he read some occult books.
I secretly observed prior Ferenc.
This is horrible. Oh no, I don't.
In it, the prior mentions that he will not perform
Achievement unlocked, hot goss.
Follow through on a threat to implicate him to inquisitors in Innsbruck. Jacob says an implication of necromancy is a serious matter. The prior's position would have been in peril, possibly even his life. And how do you believe prior Ferenc would have killed the Baron?
I don't know.
I pray you will not say it was a magical ritual. Player says I am not certain, your reverence. Jacob says a troublesome wrinkle. Is there anything else to say about the prior?
He's kind of mean.
The day that the Baron arrived, I secretly observed prior Ferenc in the scriptorium. Jacob says was this an intentionally covered observation? Option 1 of 2 and 0. I was working alone and had dropped something on the floor. The prior. Jacob says very well. Player says he wrote a note, a cipher, in a book. It was associated with a volval that he used. Jacob says yes. What had he encoded? Player says I am not certain, but it is very suspicious. Jacob says Master Maler, could you please confine your remarks to information that leads somewhere useful?
I wish I could.
Now, do you have any other evidence against the prior? Player says no, your reverence. Jacob says very well. Who else may have wanted to see the Baron dead? Option 1 of 4 any of the nuns, Sister Matilda, may have wished revenge on the Baron. Option 4 of 4. Jacob says very well. Are you aware of anything else? Player says has Brother Florian told you about the note he found in the Baron's clothing? Jacob says yes. Brother Florian explained how he came to find it and told me its contents. Master Edeljager has entered his testimony in our register. Your description of what transpired between the Baron and Beat Steinaueren explains the meaning. You don't think the stonemason wrote it, do you? Player says no. Whoever wrote the note was a talented scribe. Jacob says I understand Kearsaw has 2, the elderly brother Edok and the younger brother Guy.
It wasn't them though.
Frank, your reverence. neither man has the skill to write in this way. There's something else about it, too. The style is just different. It's unlike Edok and Guy's writing. Unlike mine. Something about the way the first and second strokes meet on the A and G. Jacob says yes. Well, whatever the particulars, it seems it will remain a mystery that stands apart from the commission of the murder. Option 1 of 2. Unfortunately, there is more to tell. Player says a note had been written in the same hand, on the same type of parchment, to Sister Matilda. Jacob says that is deeply troubling, but again, beyond the bounds of my investigation. In any case, I thank you for bringing it to my attention. Player says of course.
There's so many loose ends.
Thank you again for your time. Option 1 of 2. WOULD. It be impertinent of me to opine on who the killer is.
Oh my god, I did it. Oh, interrupted. Oh, oops.
Option 1 of 2. WOULD. It be impertinent of me to opine on who the killer is. Jacob says not at all. You are an educated man and have conducted yourself appropriately in this inquiry. I reserve final judgment, of course, but who do you believe killed the person?
Oh no.
Option 1 of 2. Considering all of the evidence. Option 1 of 2. Lucky. I should talk with Lucky to find out what he was arguing about with the Baron. He's usually working next to his house north of the town commons. Option 2 of 2. Frank. I need to figure out the meaning of the cipher. Frank.
Yeah,
scriptorium.
can't keep.
He used a volvel while writing it and took it with him. He can't keep it in his robes all the time, can he?
No. Oh no, I really want to see what that means though. I want to see what the creep. Like. Oh.
Player says Prior Ferenc, your reverence. Option 2 of 3. Others may have had a motive, but Prior Ferenc had the most to lose. Jacob
Yeah, that's
says,
true.
Your contributions to this inquiry are appreciated. Thank you for your time and candor. Option 1 of 2. While you are quite welcome, your reverence. Jacob says until later, Master Maler. Player says until then, your reverence.
Oh my god, I'm gonna throw up. Oh my god, no, it ends right now? No! Oh my god.
I didn't think you were coming to this. Option 1 of 3. I didn't think I was, either. I suppose I wanted to see how this ends after all. Clara says it was the prior of the abbey, if you can believe it.
Oh my god.
In the abbey, Andrea. Big Yerk says you missed the trial, Andreas. That
I got achievement unlocked, the prior.
Him guilty. Option 1 of 3. I worked with him almost every day, Clara. I didn't know he had murder in him. Peter says oh, they want you to think they're so pious, but all they're here to do is slowly drain the life out of this town. Clara says calm down, Peter. Eva says oh, here comes the procession.
Oh no, I don't want to. No, I don't want to see this.
Otto says did I miss anything? Eva says no, you're fine. Otto says Andreas. Option 1 of 2. OTTO.
I hate this. Oh no, I hate this.
God knows it even if you do not. Matthew says Agnes Dei. Qui talis peccata mundi. Ferenc says this can't be happening. This can't be happening. Matthew says Agnes Dei. Qui talis peccata mundi. Dona nobis.
Oh, don't kick him. That's rude. I feel so bad. Oh my god.
Says running like Ulrich says give the man. Lenhart says pathetic. Arnold says silence.
Oh, I feel so bad. Oh no, I hate this. I was on a jury for a really minor crime and I still hated that, and I can't do this.
To carry out his duty. I warrant him peace and safe conduct, whatever may befall him. Option 1 of 2 watch. Option 2
No, we're gonna look away. We're gonna look away. I don't want to see it. Nope. Although I probably should. If I influenced it.
Arnold says you have executed as judgment and law have required.
Who are you?
Richard says for that I thank God and my master who has taught me such art.
Do not want.
Gernot says I know this was your doing, Andreas. Option 1 of 3 while you know it was only a matter of time before Ferenc was caught for his interests. Option 2 of 3 take it up with the Archdeacon. It has nothing to do with. Gernot says the Archdeacon wouldn't have reached his verdict without your testimony. I read it. Option 1 of 2 I didn't say anything that wasn't true. Option 2. Option 1. Gernot says you are no longer welcome at Kiersaw, Andreas Maler. I will send your final payment
That's
to
okay.
the listeners. May you have a long and successful career in Nuremberg, and may you never travel this way again.
I wish I could have blamed it on him. Achievement unlocked. Andreas non grata.
Has the time come for you to leave us? Option 1 of 2 I am afraid so, Brother Pierrot.
Pierrot lives. That's all I care about.
Father Gernot made it clear I was no longer welcome at Kiersaw. Pierrot says I pray that time will soften Father Abbott's heart. I hope he eventually realizes you were only trying to help me. This is a sad parting, but inevitable. I had hoped you would stay a bit longer, but the world needs you more than Kiersaw does. You have grown beyond this old abbey and become a master in your own right. I will miss you, my son. Option 1 of 2 as I will you. Option 1 of 2 as I will you. Pierrot says come, your masterpiece is complete. May I see it one last time before you go? Option 1 of 2 please. Option 1, Pierrot says the opinion of one old monk matters little. All the same, I am excited to see it finished at last. Pierrot says it is a masterpiece, truly worthy of the word. And it appears you took my advice to heart. Player says what advice was that? Pierrot says to put yourself into the work. Not just to interpret another artist's work, but to transform it into something true. This shows the world as it is, as you have seen it, even if it is not what we may want to see.
A smoky.
Though it is not my place to say so, I am proud of you, Andreas. Player says what's this? Pierrot says a scrap of parchment. Pierrot says do not return here. A warning.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Pierrot says whose hand is this? It doesn't look like Brother
Whose is it?
Option 1 of 2 Brother Florian and I found a similar note in the Baron's clothing. Option 1 of 2 and another while I was investigating. Player says they must have been written by someone who knew the darkest secrets of the town and this abbey. They tugged at those secrets to kill the Baron, like someone pulling at threads that had been buried in the past. Pierrot says a frightening thought. But who would do such a thing? Option 1 of 2 I wish I knew. Pierrot says do not trouble yourself overly about it. Your future lies outside of these walls. I hope that you will have time to visit me once or twice in your travels before the Lord takes me. Option 1 of 2 I'll come as often as I can. Option 2 Player says assuming Father Gernot doesn't forbid it. Pierrot says we must have faith that better days lie ahead for all of us. God bless you, Andreas Maler. Option 1 of 3 Thank you for your friendship. Until next time.
Achievement unlocked. The Baron. Who are these people?
Casper says are you alright, Master Andreas? Player says, what? Casper says are you alright, Master Andreas? Player says yes, thank you. I was just remembering him, trying to, anyway. It doesn't come easily anymore. Casper says oh. Would you like me to leave you alone? Player says no, Casper. It's not necessary, there's nothing to be done about it now. It's too late, like so many things. Guy says Andreas Maler. I never expected to see your face here again. Have you been in Nuremberg for these last 7 years?
It's only been 7 years?
Player says no. Nuremberg for a few years, but I received some lucrative commissions abroad. Option 1 of 4 Poland Andreas knows some Polish, bits of Czech and Hungarian, and Option 2 of 4 England Andreas knows some English and can reference cultural touchstones from London and other parts of Britain. Option 3 of 4 France Andreas knows French and can reference cultural touchstones from Paris, Tours, and Dijon. Option 4 of 4 Aragon Andreas knows some Spanish and bits of Arabic and can reference cultural touchstones from Barcelona and Valencia. Option 1 of 4 Poland Andreas knows some Polish, bits of Czech and Hungarian, and can reference cultural touchstones from Krakow, Prague, and Buda.
Berenk was from Hungary, so maybe that might help.
I was in Krakow, the court of King Sigismund. He has a great passion for humanism as well as new Italian and German art. Guy says did you have occasion to paint the king's physician, Jacob Isaac? Player says not to paint, but I did meet him. I was surprised to learn King Sigismund had ennobled him. An interesting man. You don't meet many Jews in nobility, in Poland or elsewhere. Guy says Poland is one of the few places Jews may live in peace, provided the king doesn't have a change of heart. Player says I'm surprised you care at all. Guy says, in spite of your extensive travels and success, you're still not welcome at Kiersau. The abbot hasn't forgotten what happened. 7 years isn't all that long. Option 1 of 2 I was just passing through on my way back to Nuremberg. I thought I'd stop in. Option 2 of 2 I simply wanted to pay my respects to an old friend. Surely you understand that. Guy says I understand why Father Abbot expelled you from the abbey. What were you expecting? A hero's welcome. Option 3 of 3 I didn't get Frank killed, if that's what this is about. Option 1 of 3 FINE. Tell Father Gernot I'll be staying at the landhouse in town for a night or two before moving on. Option 2 of
Okay.
Option 1 of 3 Guy says the golden hand? I'll tell him, but I can't imagine he'll care. Casper says why is he so rude? Guy says God bless you. Now, be off.
Oh wow, there's more. Thought that was gonna be that.
Cloister. Casper says that monk seemed unhappy to see you, Master Andreas. Why is the abbot so angry with you? Player says toward the end of my stay in Tassing, there was a murder at Kiersau Abbey, a nobleman. Father Gernot panicked and accused my friend, Brother Pierrot, of committing the crime. Option 2 of 2 you know, it was a long time. Option 1 of 2 I helped convince the investigating archdeacon that another monk was responsible, Prior Ferenc. Player says he was executed for the crime. Casper says you got someone killed. Option 1 of 2 yes. Option 2 of 2 it was that or let an innocent man die. Casper says that's not much of a choice. Still, I would have been scared.
Oh, I
Why
am.
didn't you mention it before? Well, I suppose it must have been a hard situation about if the abbot is still this mad at you. Option 1 of 2 I had to make some difficult choices. Maybe they were the wrong ones. I've had to live with that. Option 2 of 2 hard, yes, but also, exhilarating.
What? You psychopath.
Option Casper says why did we come here if you are not welcome? Player says I wanted to pay my respects to Brother Pierrot, and, to be honest, I'm not looking forward to returning to Nuremberg. This commission, it's an obscene vanity piece under the pretext of a religious scene. My patrons just want to celebrate themselves and their wealth. I dread each new commission more than the last. Every step I take toward home is agonizing.
Oh
Casper
man, that
says,
sucks.
Master, you're famous and rich. Your work is wonderful. When I saw your altarpiece in Nuremberg, I begged my father to help me become your apprentice. I don't understand how you could accomplish all that you have and be unhappy. Option 1 of 3 I know. It must be hard to believe. I was once very much like you. Option 2 of 3 all that I have accomplished is my work, yes. Now I am left hollow, with nothing else left. Player says once, I wanted this life so much that it consumed my every waking thought. I don't know if I've changed or if what I wanted was never really real. Maybe I've been a fool this whole time. Option 2 of 2 so this is what you have to look forward to, Casper.
No.
Option 1 of 2 I want life as an artist to be better for you, Casper. Learn from my mistakes, alright? Casper says alright. Yes, Master Andreas.
Oh.
Option 1 of 2 I shouldn't be burdening you with such dark thoughts, Casper. Player says come, let's visit my old friend Klaus. It's been too long. Casper says as you like, Master Andreas. Journal.
Man,
Golden Hand, go to bed.
Nope.
Player says the room is sparse compared. Golden Hand in.
This.
Hannah says hello, Andreas. How are you enjoying your stay? Option 3 of 3 The room is not. Option 1. Hannah says oh good. You're in the best room we have. I'm glad it's to your liking. Was there anything else? Player says no, thank you. Until later. Hannah says until then. Hannah. Meadow. Killian. Killian says good day, Master Maler. Nico. Nico says ah, Master. Maler, is it? Hello and welcome to the Golden Hand. I am Nico Berger. I own this landhouse and run it with my wife, Hannah, and our son, Killian. I believe my boy helped you to your room. Is it to your liking? Option 3 of 3 EH. Option 1 of 3 It's lovely, thank you. Nico says I am glad to hear it. Glad to hear. When you arrived in town, one of the locals said you lived here a few years back. Option 1 of 2 Yes. I worked for the Abbey as an artist. Nico says I see. I heard that you were involved in solving a murder. Option 3 of 3 Say nothing. Option 1 of 3 Nico says I heard it was the prior at the Abbey, that the Baron was a sacrifice in some diabolical spell the brother was casting.
No.
Option 3 of 3 I don't want to talk about it. Option 2 of 3 No, he wasn't casting a Nico says bits and pieces that people have said here and there. Option 2 of 2 It sounds like the story has changed in the last 7 years. Nico says I meant no offense, Master Maler. I just find it to be an interesting story. Option 1 of 2 It's not a story, it's something that happened. 2 people died. Nico says of course,
No.
Again, I meant no offense. Well, I'll leave you to your day. Until later. Player says until then.
Who is that?
Samuel says hello, Andreas.
Huh. Wow, I thought the game would end
Samuel.
when you gave your recommendation, but this is interesting.
Killian.
I'm kind of glad it didn't end there. It would have felt too abrupt and incomplete. Oh, wow. This is new. Like,
Martin says Otto, I'm scared. It's dangerous to cross the Abbot. Otto says would you prefer the alternative? Martin says you don't need to do that, Otto. I understand, I'm just say. Otto says. Andreas Maler? It's good to see you again, old friend. Player says Otto. You're looking well. This is my apprentice, Casper Ziegler, from Salzburg. Casper says good day. Otto says that answers that. I thought he might be your son. Option 1 of 3 We don't grow them that fast, even in Nuremberg. Option 2 of 3 No. Not yet. Option 3 of 3 I've only been married 7 years, Otto.
I mean, 7 years isn't that... I mean, he's like saying it's like only 7 years, but I feel like that's enough time to have a baby.
Option 1 of 3 Otto says they grow fast enough around here.
Yeah, I bet... That fly is like freaking me out a little bit.
Eva and I just had our first.
Oh.
Little Otto.
Oh, he's with Eva. We call him OTZ.
Option 1 of 2 Congratulations to you both. That's wonderful news. Otto says thank you. It's been a trial with Dad gone, but Clara and Ursula help out where they can.
Oh, I want to see grown-up
Ursula.
Ursula.
Lived a surprisingly long time, considering his profession and previous stroke. Otto says not long enough for me.
Oh.
Not long enough for OTZ. Dr. Stahl said it was another stroke, while he was sleeping, thankfully. I know Eva wrote to you about my father's death, Andreas. Why didn't you write back? Option 1 of 2 I am sorry, things got busy after I left Tassing. Martin says sorry to interrupt, but I should be heading back.
Martin's much more well-mannered now.
Option 1 of 2 I feel like I should remember your face, but I can't
What?
place it.
It's Martin!
Option 1 of 2 I feel like I should Martin says don't trouble yourself. It's me, Martin. Remember, option 1 of 2 yes, of course. Hello, Martin. Martin says hello. Sorry to run, but I have to get these sheep back to the farm.
Wow. He is so much more pleasant now.
As much as I love whiling away the hours in the meadow, I have a lot to attend to. Otto, I'll see you at the meeting later. Andreas, until later.
Wow, you really grew up.
Option 1 of 2 UNTIL that. Option 2 of 2 GOD to see you. Player says the last time I saw Martin was in this meadow. He was sneezing. Seemed to hate being here. Even his mother, Cot, said that he always sneezed when he was in the meadow. Strange. Is it strange, or are you just confused? Option 2 of 2 am I confused? Player says are you? Option 2 of 2 GOD to see you, Martin. Otto says pain in my ass. Option 1 of 3 What's this about a meeting? Otto says you've picked an interesting time to visit. Come by the town commons in a while. I think you'll be interested to hear what I have to say. Option 1 of 3. I didn't realize you were in the business of giving speeches. I'll definitely attend. Otto says sounds good. Until later, then.
Okay.
Journal.
Ran into Otto Zimmerman and Martin Bauer having a discussion in a meadow. Martin returned from his adventures as a changed man. Otto told me to come to the Commons later. I'll head there after I talk to Klaus, who is the print guy.
Mill, pet schlau.
Oh, it's been so long. We gotta pet him. Yes. Yay.
Pet schlau.
Oh, a regular achievement unlocked at regular St. Francis. Where's the town commons?
Forest. Pet
Wait, where's
schlau,
Klaus?
mill. Gold Church and Druckers. Meadow. Thomas says Andreas. I had heard you were back in Tassing. God bless you. Option 1 of 2. God bless you, Father Thomas. It is good to see you again. Option 2 of 2. Option Thomas says hopefully this visit will be less eventful than your last. Tassing has enough going on as it is.
I sure hope so.
We have our bonfire for St. John's Eve tomorrow night. People get up to all sorts of mischief.
Oh. Okay.
And then it's my job to hear their confessions in the days that follow. Guy says not to mention the grumbling the peasants are making. Thomas says that's just talk, brother. No need to scare our guest with such things. Guy says I'm sure if there is trouble, Master Maler will be the first to stick his nose in it.
I forgot what such an asshole he is.
Option 1 of 2 why are you always such an asshole? Option 2 of 2 say nothing.
We're better than you.
Guy says it's easy enough for you to come and go. You don't have to live with the consequences. After Frank was executed, Father Abbot made Matthew the new prior.
Matthew. Who was he again? Oh, that guy. I mean, he was nice. I liked him. I remember Frank was a huge asshole.
Frank may have been annoying, but Matthew is even worse.
How is he even worse?
It would have been better for everyone if you had simply allowed Brother Pierrot to die.
Okay, to let an innocent man die.
After all, he only had a few years left anyway.
That's not how that works, guy. You motherfucker. You absolute
Option
dipshit.
2 of 2 stare menacingly at him.
Yeah, are we gonna let him talk to us this way?
Option 1 of 2 you re a buffoon and a coward who hides behind his habit. Guy says nothing to say for yourself.
Oh, I have
Thomas
so much
says
to say.
Friends. There's no need for such ire. Guy says I forgive me, Father Thomas. I let my passions get the better of me. Besides, that's not even why I came down here. I actually came to speak to you on the abbot's behalf, Andreas. Father Gernot would like to invite you to come to the library tomorrow morning if you are interested in purchasing some of our books.
Why would I purchase some books after you literally just, railed on me for 5 minutes?
Player says the abbot just had me run off and now he wants me back.
Yeah.
Guy says I can't know the mind of the Father Abbot. I just do what he asks.
Yeah, you fucking kiss ass.
The library is not quite ready yet, as it does not see much use. If you could come by tomorrow morning, Mother Illuminata can show you what's available. Player says Mother Illuminata? Guy says yes, since Mother Cecilia passed a few years ago.
Oh, man.
Option 2 of 2 WELL. Guy says peacefully, in her sleep. So, tomorrow morning, option 2 of 2 ILL come by to take a look. Guy says very well. I'll let him know. And Andreas. I apologize for my harsh words before. It was rash.
Well, at least you apologized, which is more than
Pierrot
what...
was a pious man and a skilled artist. We miss him.
Yeah, and an innocent man.
Option 2 of 3A an excellent performance, Brother Guy. I almost believed it.
Heh. Aw, should we?
Option
No.
1 of 3 I appreciate. Thomas says excellent. I'm so glad you two were able to work things out. Guy says. Oh, Father Thomas, do you have a moment to speak inside the church? Thomas says yes, I think so. Why? Guy says a private matter. Thomas says oh, of course. Of course. Guy says until tomorrow.
Wait,
God
wasn't
bless you, Andreas.
Matthew one of the guys who was caught in an affair in the library? Or like with another man?
Martin
Can't remember.
Drucker House.
Does this get bigger? Huh.
Church and Druckers.
Oh.
Klaus.
Oh my god.
Klaus.
Ah.
Magdalene.
Cute. I hear a
Klaus.
cat somewhere.
Klaus says. Andreas. Option 1 of 3. I am sorry, Klaus. I know it's been a long time. Klaus says 7 years. 7 years and nothing from my first Bert, then Marie just after Magdalene was born.
Oh man. Wait, what? Bert? Their kid died?
My wife always thought highly of you. I can't believe you didn't write back after I told you they had passed. Option 1 of 3. I am sorry. I should have written. Klaus says yes, you should have.
Yeah. No, he's right about that. It seems like Andreas kind of just like became, I don't know if spiraled is the right word. Like we just became haunted, maybe depressed.
Too late for that now, though.
Damn, that's sad. Oh, that's a cat.
Magdalene says book be bobo.
Boopy Bobo.
Casper says oh. H hello.
Oh, Casper's so sweet.
Klaus says. She likes you.
Oh.
Player says, your business seems to have grown. What are you printing? Klaus says the 12 articles. They were originally written by Swabian peasants who were demanding changes from their lords. Klaus says freedom from serfdom, freedom to hunt and use the woods as God intended, freedom from compulsory labor, abolition of the inheritance tax, fair appraisal of rent, the return of property to common use and ownership. Bavaria isn't Swabia, but their complaints are just as valid for the peasants of Tassing. Player says ah, so this is Otto's cause. Klaus says he's caught your ear already. The abbot has been squeezing the peasants for years. Now he's squeezing the townsfolk, and we're pushing back.
Nice. Good for you.
Their cause is righteous, Andreas. If you haven't seen the Gürtners lately, you should visit them. Player says in Otto had you print these?
Hold on, I need to adjust my sound really quick.
Klaus says yes. Why? Player says well, I didn't think he could read. Klaus says he can't, but just about everyone else in town can. He speaks. I print. Just trying to do my part, I suppose.
Nice.
I'm sorry, I'm still not in the mood for this late reunion. Come back for dinner tomorrow.
Oh.
You should go to the Commons, hear what Otto has to say. It's worth hearing. Option 1 of 2 I understand. And option 2 of 2 of course. Casper says will you be good? Magdalene says gab gab jouru. House.
I think Casper reminds me of Merlin. Like from Merlin. Just like a tinier version.
Journal.
What happened to Bert? Okay. Sounds like we should go to the town hall.
Central. Casper says so many people. Otto says everyone, listen, we all know why we're here. Nothing I'm going to say will be a surprise. Nothing I'm going to say hasn't already been spoken behind closed doors, whispered to your neighbors. Nothing I'm going to say is untruthful, so it's time we started saying it openly.
Oh man, I hope Otto doesn't die.
Year after year, the Abbey has found new ways to tax the peasants. Piece by piece, the Abbey has taken away our rights to use God's forest to support our families. Law after law gets heaped upon us. Restrictions on how we can pay rent. Limits on where we can move, who we can wed.
What? Really? That's dumb. Trying to see who all is here. Did the widow die or is she here?
And now the death tax, which once claimed only our best animal and garment, takes half our estate.
What?
No consideration for widows. No consideration for children. Ulrich says what about the town council, the Rathaus?
Community hall where people council that governs day-to-day affairs under the authority of a lord.
Surely that is a sign that the abbot wishes to share his power, to listen to our grievances. Otto says you have a good heart, Ulrich. You always want to see the best in people. But no. The council is a way for the abbot to divide us, to pit a favored few against the many. This is not charity. No, only greed and desperation drive Father Gernot. You'd think that if the abbot could, he'd steal a dead man's soul from heaven itself. And when we protested, what did Father Gernot do? He locked the shrine of St. Moritz.
Sounds like Gernot is still a piece of shit.
He won't allow the people of this town, the farmers of this land, to pray before the relic. Now, when we most need the intercession of our saint, the abbot has shut us out. Father Gernot's actions aren't just. They aren't Christian. We've endured this abuse for too long. It's time we let the abbot know we won't take it anymore. Hetty says too right, Ulrich says here. Brigitte says yes, Peter says this has to stop. Martin says let's fix this. Hannah says stop. This is foolish.
Hannah again?
Soldiers are already patrolling nearby towns. If you push against the abbey, you'll incur the Duke's wrath. You could get the town razed and everyone killed. Lenhart says Hannah's right. The Duke is a powerful force in Bavaria. You're playing a dangerous game, Otto. You lot are no match for trained soldiers. If you don't relent, you'll be ground into dust like the Swabian peasants. Peter says we could always grind you up instead. Brigitte says they might be right if there are already. Hetty says I don't know about this. Ulrich says we must stand for what is right. Martin says. Otto says don't be shy. Speak up, if you have cause. Martin says we won't be overrun. The peasants of Salzburg were able to take the city and have their cause heard. If the people can get the Archbishop of Salzburg to listen to them, then we can do the same with the abbot. Casper says Master Andreas, do you think my family in Salzburg is all right? Option 1 of 2 I don't know, Casper, but we can find out. Option 2 of 2 QUIT,
Oh my God.
Casper.
What an asshole option.
Option 1
Jesus.
of 2 I don't know. Casper says, all right. Martin says enough is enough. We can't stand by while the abbot continues treating us poorly. People all over Swabia are taking back their God-given rights. Why shouldn't we do the same?
Hell yeah, Martin.
Agnes says a righteous cause. Kot says Martin's right. Veronica says we deserve Big Jörg says we can do this. Otto says well spoken, Martin. Everyone ought to consider what he's said. Martin has proved dependable these last few years.
Nice. I wonder what changed.
But if the words of men can't persuade you, perhaps a sign from a greater power will. The abbot may have locked us out
Maybe
of our
not
saint
dying.
shrine, but God has shown me that he is with us. I think that's all I should say for now. Thank you all for coming. Clara says good day, Andreas. Option 2 of 2 HELL. Option 1 of 2 CL. Eva says hello, Andreas. I'm surprised to see you after your long absence from Tassing. At this rate, we thought we'd never see you again. Option 2 of 3 I was on the road back to Nuremberg, actually, and option 3 of 3 I was gone too long. I'm so. Eva says you certainly did pick an odd time to visit. Clara says we're in the middle of a strange season.
What? Revolution? Rebellion?
Otto says you found the Gertners. Clara says your speech was very rousing, Otto. I swear, they get better each time. Option 2 of 2 Are you looking for trouble? Option 1 of 2 I hope the Duke doesn't catch word of this. Otto says we're past the point of caring, Maler. If you were in our position, you'd understand that. Option 2 of 2. Option 1 of 2 you rewrite. It's not my place to judge. I'm just concerned. Otto says it's appreciated, but we know the risks. Player says Otto, did you really see a sign from God?
Oh,
Is
yay!
it true?
Amazing.
Otto says
We
it
at
is.
least got that.
Andreas, I swear. Come talk to me later, I'll tell you what I can. All right? Clara says, anyway, Andreas, you and yours should come by the house for supper. We'd be delighted to have you. Option 2
Oh,
of,
yeah.
Option 1 of 2 THAT sounds wonderful.
Oh,
Option
yeah.
2 of 2 SOUND good to you, Casper? Casper says yes, Master Andreas. I'm starving. Clara says our table is a little sparse lately, but we'll be sure to feed you well. Player says
nice.
thank you.
The little
We'll
baby is
see
so
you there.
cute. Her little basket.
Johann Bauer Farm.
Go to Gertners. Oh wow.
Hans. Gertner Farm. Gertner House. Gertner House.
Wait, can I go to...
Journal.
Yes. Okay. Maybe we can go talk to him first.
Johann Bauer Farm. Town comment. Johann, Hans. Johann. Johann says Andreas Maler. Didn't expect to ever see you back in Tassing. You look like you've done well for yourself. Option 2 of 2 it may look
Yeah,
rich,
I look
but it
kind of
doesn't
rich.
feel like it. Option 1 of 2. Johann says things went well for a while after you left. Widow Kemperin lost her land and the abbot let us work it. My brother's heart gave out not long after, but then Martin came back to help work the land. Even so, it's been hard to keep up with the abbot's demands, the taxes, and everything else. Option 2 of 2 millimeters. Well, I'm really just passing through. Option 1 of 2 it sound. Johann says they have good reason to be.
Yeah.
I know you didn't get on well with the man, either.
No one did. I can't believe he became abbot. Like, he's still unlikable. I mean, I guess he is because of us.
Anyway, good to see you, Andreas, even if you are just passing through. Player says until later. Hans. Hans says hey, Andreas. Heard rumor you were back. Player says hello, Hans. Meet Casper, my apprentice. Casper says hello. Hans says hello. Are you from Nuremberg like Andreas? Casper says I'm from Salzburg. Hans says is that very far from here? Casper says not too far, I think. A few days to the east on horseback. Hans says I've never been outside of Tassing. Or ridden a horse.
Oh.
Option 1 of 2 Tassing is a wonderful place to live.
No, we're not gonna say that.
Option 1 of 2 Tassing is a wonderful. Hans says I guess. Some of the men in town say it would be better if the abbey weren't around.
Do you agree, Hans?
Option 1 of 3 THE and you'd have to contend with a lord. That's hardly better. Hans says I don't know. Could be nice to have a change. Player says be careful what you wish for. Change does not come peacefully in the Empire. Hans says I guess we'll see. Player says until then, Hans. Hetty. Johann Bauer House. Johann Bauer House. Hetty. Martin Bauer and Widow Kemperin. Brigida.
Oh, hi, Brigida.
Brigida says hello, Andreas. Option 2 of 2 HELLO. Brigida. Brigida says as well as anyone can be in Tassing right now. Option 2 of 2 WELL. Option 1 of 2 IT looks like things are going well for you. Martin returned, after all. Brigida says yes. The winter without him was excruciating. I lost little Wolf, and Cot was worried that she'd lose the farm after France died.
She lost her child? Wait, who was France? Oh yeah, that guy. No, not Wolf. Wolf was so cute, he looked like a little bean.
But then Martin returned, and he's provided well for us ever since. Despite the tightening restrictions, we've gotten by. I'm thankful. Option 3 of 3 I am sorry to hear about Wolf. Brigida says, thank you. I try not to think about it. Option 2 of 2 nod regretfully. Brigida says Cot wants to talk about him all the time, you know. Any night there's clear skies. She looks up and asks if I ever wonder how he is up there. Player says that must be excruciating. Brigida says, yes. It is. I'm sorry, Andreas.
Damn.
I can't talk about this anymore.
I didn't mean to be a downer.
Option 2 of 2 I am sorry I brought him up, Brigida. Player says was that a good idea? Why
Probably
did they
not.
think she'd want to talk about her dead son?
I didn't. I was just saying sorry.
Does it feel good to you, hurting the wounded?
Damn. Our inner people a little bit more brutal.
Option 1 of 2 and 0. Player says does she seem like she has been gifted with a kindness? No. You wouldn't want someone to talk to you about it. That's why you don't mention it.
I didn't. I wasn't like, you know, like goading her on, and I was just saying sorry.
I can't take this anymore. Player says you can. We say these things even though the reminding inflicts immense pain. We say these things because it's the only way through. Option 2 of 2. Option 1 of 2 I am. Player says then say that, but will it make any difference? Option 1 of 2 my mistake. Option 2. Brigida says you didn't know. It's alright, it's been good to see you again, but I should be going. Until later. Player says until then.
Interesting. So like those people like Beatrice, or at least we've only seen her so far. Oh, not there.
Brigida. Cot. Martin.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of self-loathing in those little dialogues.
Cot says Andreas. Andreas Maler. Player says hello. Cot says well, would you look at that? You are back in Tassing, and look at you. You've done well for yourself. And who's this? Player says Cot. Please meet Casper, my apprentice. Casper says hello. Cot says he's got the posture of an artist, that's for sure. Good strong face, though. Casper says I do. Cot says what brings you back to Tassing, Andrea? Player says just passing through on the way back to Nuremberg. Option 2 of 2 I saw Martin earlier. I must say, I was surprised to see him.
Was that her way of saying he stands like a croissant? Just like slouchy?
Option
No,
1 of
let's
2
ask about Kat.
Cot says I feel well. The past few years have been challenging, but I am stronger now for the Lord's trial. France passed a few winters ago. Then Wolf. Brigida and I nearly lost the farm, and our mines, but Martin returned shortly after, and he's proved to be a changed man. A good man. He saved us from destitution. Option 1 of 2 I'd been wondering where Wolf was. I'm so sorry. Option 2 of 2 MY. Cot says thank you. He was well. Option 1 of 3 a real asshole. Option 2 of 3 a difficult man. Cot says I hope his pains and terrors are eased, now that he's at God's side.
Very kind thing to say.
And now that Martin has returned to us, the farm is no longer in danger, and Brigida and I live in hope of more children soon. Times may be hard in Tassing right now, but God truly does answer our prayers. Player says I'm glad you and your family are well, Cot, despite everything. Cot says thank you, Andreas. It truly is good to see you again, even in the midst of such terrible times. Player says until later, Cot. Cot says until then. Martin. Martin says Andreas Maler. Good to see you again after all these years. Option 2 of 2 ANDU. Option 1 of 2 I am surprised you'd say that. Martin says were they? It's been so long, I don't remember. Option 2 of 2 IT. Option 1 of 2 YO you told me to eat shit. Martin says oh, God that's bad. I was such a little shit.
Yeah, you were.
Well, sorry for being such an asshole back then. Option 2 of 2 it's nothing to feel bad about. It was option 1 of 2 IT seems like you've learned a lot since then.
Yeah, what
Martin
changed you?
says 7 years is a long time for a young man, especially one going through what I was. Player says what happened to you, anyway? Martin says oh. Right, you know I stole some of the Baron's things. I didn't make it far with them. I tried to sell them in Walga and I got robbed.
Oh wow.
Serves me right, I guess. Luckily they didn't find the coins I was carrying. The money carried me around Bavaria for another month and a half. Then I started stealing. I grew bigger and more confident over time and became a highwayman. Option 2 of 2 you re lucky you didn't get killed. Option 1 of 2 YO you were a bandit. Martin says hard to believe, I know, but yes. Anyway, it didn't last long. I eventually got scared out of it. I had a partner for the last year of my adventures. We tried to rob some Italians. We thought they were merchants traveling under the banner of St. George. They were not. They were soldiers guarding the property of an Italian bank. My partner didn't survive the encounter.
Oh jeez.
I was wounded and alone in the wilderness. I thought of my father, my mother, Brigida. I realized I couldn't remember Wolf's face anymore. I had to come back and take up the responsibilities I had left behind.
Yeah.
Option 2 of 2 WAS coming back Option 1 of 2 it's good that you did, for everyone's sake. Martin says you may be right. Mom and Brigida couldn't run the farm after Dad died. Maybe it's for the best that he wasn't here when I got back. It's all in the past now. Just need to look forward. Option 2 of 2 that's a good attitude. I'll talk to you later. Option 1 of 2 THAT was quite a speech you gave back at the Commons. Martin says he needs support. The townsfolk aren't as committed to opposing the abbot. They have less to gain and more to lose if the abbot chooses to get the duke involved. Anyway, I have to get back to work. Good talking to you, Andreas. Player says all right. Until later.
Kind of want to ask. It was difficult coming back and seeing that his son was dead.
Town Commons. Church and Druckers. Town Commons.
Auto again.
Zimmerman House. Eva. Eva says hello, Andreas. Otto. Otto says Andreas.
Pretty nice place you got.
Player says so, Otto, sign from God? Otto says oh, right, I found something, just a few days ago. This will sound crazy, but I found.
Is it the murder weapon?
I found St. Moritz's head.
What?
Option 1 of 3 what? His head? Option 1 of 3 what? Otto says SHH. Yes, I'm sure. Alright, I can't say anything more until St. John's Day.
Do you have proof?
Then everyone will know.
How
Option
are you
1
so
of 2
sure?
understood. I won't say a word.
Are you
Otto
so
says
sure
you
it's
better
his
not.
head?
I'm trusting in you to be a good man about this. You whisper anything about this to anyone, I'll do more than kick your ass.
I'm not a
Player says
snitch.
naturally. Otto says until later. Andreas. Eva. Otto.
The head here? Where do you have it? In here? Probably not.
Otto. Eva. Town Commons. Johann Bauer Farm. Gertner Farm. Gertner House. Clara. Clara says hello again, Andreas. We're about to sit down to supper. Care to join? Option 2 of 2. I want to walk around a bit more. I'll be back soon.
Yeah.
Gertner Farm.
I feel like the reason why I
Town Commons.
I didn't get too much info and I didn't find the weapon was because, and why I couldn't
Central
finish the
Town.
thing, the tombstone or like the gravesite was
Albin Bakery.
I didn't walk around. Like I just like should have talked to before the time skip.
Anna. Gret. Anna.
Like the
Gret. Gret. Gret says God bless you, Andreas. I'm thankful you returned to Tassing after so long. We prayed so fondly for you after you left. Option 4 of 4. I hope your prayers offset the abbot's. He's not as fond of me as the rest of Tassing. Option 1 of 4. THANKU, Gret. I've kept Tassing in my prayers as well. Player says though it doesn't seem to have done much good. Gret says ah, that's right. You were at Otto's speech earlier. Yes, Tassing's peasants are struggling, and now even we townsfolk are pinched by the abbot's new restrictions.
Who are the peasants? I didn't know that the peasants were separate.
I worry about my husband. He's getting too involved with the whole business. Option 3 of 3. You rewrite to be worried. Otto's protests look like the start of a revolt. Option 1 of 3. WHAT Gernot is doing in Tassing is wrong, and Otto is standing up to him. Gret says that's what Ulrich says, too. I love my husband, but sometimes I worry that he focuses too intently on the details. He does not see that he may be both prudent and Christian. I pray that I am not acting selfishly, but the abbot's taxes have affected us, too. What about Anna's future?
Well, why are the taxes going up so much? Just because.
Ulrich has been offering credit to Peter for years, which I've accepted, but now, we can only bake so much bread a week before we go hungry ourselves. Can you talk to him, Andreas? Option 2 of 2. I'd rather not drive. Option 1 of 2. Oh, of course, Gret, but I can't promise I'll change his mind.
Oh, it's raining.
Gret says God bless you, Andreas. That's all I ask. Gret. Anna.
So now we can bring that up with Peter.
Central Town.
When we go back to the farm, but we talk to her.
North Town. Albin Bakery. North Town. Steinauer House.
Lucky. How are you doing?
Lucky says Andreas. Not who I wanted to see.
Listen, I could have had you killed.
God has it out for me. Option 3 of 3. Are you still angry at me after all these years? Option 1 of 3.
Why would he
Perhaps
be
God
angry
is
at
trying
me?
to send you a message of forgiveness. It's not good for the soul to hold a grudge. Lucky says you still talk too much. Couldn't even hold back to the archdeacon. Running your
Yeah,
mouth.
I didn't even.
Option 3 of 3. WELL.
Oh, because we talked
Didn't you?
about
Option 1
we
of 3. I
presented
had to
him
give
as
a
a
truthful
suspect.
testimony of what I'd learned.
Oh, maybe
Option 3 of
stalker.
3. WELL.
Yeah, let's
Option
not say
1 of 3.
that.
I had to give. Lucky says don't think at all what happens after. Good thing the archdeacon knew how to weigh all the evidence.
Yeah, because I didn't say you were the
Turns out the
culprit.
friar's just as corrupt as regular folks. Option 2 of 2. He was an asshole. So in the end it didn't. Option 1 of 2. I still can't believe it was Ferenc.
I feel like it
Lucky
wasn't.
says I'm not surprised. They didn't kill me, but you tainted my name. Folks whispering. What if they got the wrong person? Could have been the Mason after
But they
all.
didn't.
Option
Well,
2
it could
of
have
2.
been him.
Nameless gossip. Ignore it. Option 1 of Lucky
Apologize.
says apologies don't bring work. Reputation does. At least most have the decency to only whisper, unlike that shit Muller. So no, I don't like seeing you here, Master Maler. Option 1 of 3. I won't be in Tassing for long. If you want, I will keep out of your option 2 of 3. I can only apologize again. Option 1
Yeah.
of Lucky says wise. We got nothing to talk about. Now get lost.
Fine.
Church and Druckers.
We were already there, right? Okay, we can go to the
Lucky.
north.
Steinauer Northtown. Central
Whoa,
Town.
what's
Central
happening?
Town. Player says the Rathaus construction is going smoothly. I wonder if they'll finish. Stahl's house. Werner. Werner says hello, Andreas.
Oh, this is cool.
Northtown.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was the
Northtown.
apothecary guy.
Issenkopf house.
Must you be so noisy? Oh, have I never seen this?
Baltasar. Baltasar says salutations. You must be that
Hi.
wonderful artist, no? Option 2 of 3 I suppose. Option 1 of 3 Master Andreas Maler, yes. Baltasar says wonderful. Baltasar Issenkopf, at your service. But call me Baltas, please. Option 2 of 2 RIGHT. Option 1 Baltasar says oh, just a few seasons. My cart broke down, and I found the place so charming, I decided to stay. I enjoy the quiet, but I must say, I do miss the company of other intellectuals, usually that good Dr. Stalls and I whittle the hours away in the evenings. So, naturally, when I heard a well-known artist had returned, I was beside myself. Option 3 of 3 and Option 1 of 3 I am always pleased to meet a like-minded individual. What do you do? Baltasar says I'm an inventor of sorts. Casper says really? What do you make? Baltasar says all sorts of things, young man. Mechanical clocks of all sizes, metal mice that skitter about, even light without flame. Option 3 of 3 a master of your craft. You have my respect, Baltas. Baltasar says thank you, Andreas. You must come by later so that I can pick your brain. We must share our ideas, no? Well. I'd best get back to it. You know how it is for us few, called to a higher art. Player says good luck, Baltas. Until later. Northtown.
Oh, like his
Northtown.
house.
Stahl's house. Central Town.
Okay, how do I get back? I wanted to check the ruin.
Steinauer house, Lucky. Church and Druckers. Drucker house. Martin Bauer, mill. Else says hello, forgive me, I've forgotten your name. Player says Andreas Maler, master artist. You must be Else Millerin, the miller's wife. Else says oh, yes. That's me.
Wow, what a nice house.
My husband has been talking about your arrival. We're pleased you've done so well for yourself. Option 1 of 3 THANKU. I see the mill's been doing well. Else says Lenhart works relentlessly to keep it in good condition. He's very proud of it. It's unique, in these parts. Inspired by the designs used in the north, so it's very profitable too, and that's important to Lenhart.
Yeah. You look oddly like you're dressed.
Who is this young man? Player says Casper, my apprentice. Casper says hello, mistress. Else says oh, you must meet my darling Paul. He would love to meet someone his age pursuing art. Just, not where Lenhart can see. Option 1 of 2 I am sure we can arrange that. Else says that would be delightful, Master Maler. Thank you both. Player says you are most welcome, Else. Else says I must now return to my work, Master Maler. Until later. Player says until then. Else. Muller house. Paul.
Oh.
Paul says hello,
What
Master
the
Miller.
dog?
Player says hello. You're Paul, right? I don't think we spoke the last
Are
time
you
I
even
was in
alive?
passing. Paul says yeah, I was just a kid then. Player says how are you doing? Paul says I'm alright, Dad keeps talking about his new hunting rifle. It scares me.
Oh,
Option 3 of 3 firearms are just tools, Paul. Option 2 of 3 I understand, Paul. While we were traveling, we saw rows of soldiers carrying rifles. Player says the sight scared me, too. It's alright to be afraid sometimes.
yeah, it is.
Paul says Dad says that if you show your fear,
Oh, Dad's
you're
an
a coward,
asshole.
and people will take advantage of you.
No, it's okay to be afraid.
Player says your dad is wrong, Paul. Paul says SHH, don't talk so loudly.
Damn.
I need to go.
Looks like a healthy
Forget
household.
I said anything, Master
Fear.
Maler. Until later. Player says
Run by
until then.
fear.
Pet stop.
Hello, friend. It's been so. I missed you. Oh. Baby.
Paul. Mill. Lenhart.
Ugh.
Lenhart says Andreas Maler, the master artist. Yes, option 2 of 3 who is asking?
Oh, wow.
Option
I
3 of
don't
3,
think
option 2 of 3 who,
I even
option
talked to
3
him
option 2
the
of 3
last
who
time
is
we were
asking?
here.
Option 2 of 3 who, option 1 of, Lenhart says ha. No. I'm Lenhart Muller. I run the mill in Tassing. Option 3 of 3, option 2 of, Lenhart says a gentleman indeed. Look, I just wanted to introduce myself. It's not every day someone comes back to Tassing. You're a successful man. I'm sure we have much to discuss. Anyway, I won't keep you from your day. I'm sure we'll talk again soon enough. Good day, Andreas. Option 2 of 2, option 1 of 2 God day. Mill. Smokey's home.
Oh, is he still
Smokey's
here?
home.
I love Smokey.
Smokey says oh, hello, Master Maler. You're looking well. Player says thank you, Smokey. How are you? Smokey says I'm well enough, I guess. Vaxlov went his way a few years ago, which I suppose was bound to happen.
I like that guy too.
I miss the company sometimes, but now there's no one to keep me from my gossip, no one to tell it to, either. Option 3 of 3 I am always partial to a few new tidbits of information. Do tell, Smokey. Smokey says half of the ears in Tassing will be burning by the end, Master Maler, and nearly all of them in the Abbey.
Oh?
Option 2 of 2, option 1 of 2OH. Smokey says I did see another Imperial Reichspost courier ride from the Abbey a few days ago. Brother Guy dropped the bag once. It looked heavy. The Abbey must be doing better than that Abbot is letting on. Option 2 of 2 ID heard the Abbey was struggling with its funds. Smokey says curious, isn't it? The couriers arrive once or twice a month. Doesn't help that the Abbot has tightened restrictions so close to St. John's Eve, too. The townsfolk get up to all sorts of mischief then. Option 2 of 2 WHAT sort of mischief. Smokey says I'd wager Johann and Kot will find some corner to play in, again.
Johann. Wait. Oh. Oh! She was the one whose husband died.
It's practically tradition at this point. Veronica and Brigida might go out for a midnight dip by the waterfall, too. They've been swimming out there for years.
Oh.
Now everyone's getting clever, trying to stay out from the Abbot's eye. Option 2 of 2 rightly so. Option 1 of 2. Option 2 of 2 rightly so. He's an ass. Player says I didn't see you in the town commons during Otto's speech. Aren't you standing with the peasants? Smokey says well, their cause doesn't really affect me, does it? I'm as worried as anyone about soldiers rushing through here, but the new taxes and restrictions don't bother me. I understand why they're upset, but I've been doing fine out here with less than they have. Nothing will change for me if they get their way. Option 3 of 3 remain silent. Smokey says ah well. Enough of that. Thanks for stopping by, Master Maler. Player says until later, Smokey. Smokey says until then. Forest. Gertner House. Clara. Clara says hello again, Andreas. We're about to sit down. Option 1 of 2 option 1 of 2 IT would be my pleasure. Clara says it's truly a blessing to have everyone back together again, if only briefly. Peter says keep an eye on that boy of yours, Andreas. See that he minds how much he takes. Young boys eat too goddamned much.
Oh.
Clara says
We gotta
Peter,
talk to him.
stop that. Why don't you lead us in grace? Peter says fine. Bless us, O Lord, and these, your gifts, which we are about to receive from your bounty. We pray again for our beloved Christine, gone now these many years.
Scene.
Please help me protect my family in these difficult times. Through Christ, our Lord. Amen. Clara says, Veronica, Big Yerks, Ursula, Il Peter says him amen. Player says amen. Casper says amen. Casper says Master Andreas, why are we the only ones with bread?
Oh.
Option 1 of 3 The Gärtners can't afford a lot of bread. They're being polite. Clara says Andreas, it's so good to have you at our table again, and with another guest. Is this young man your assistant? Player says Casper, yes, he's my apprentice. Clara says ah, that would explain why I saw him writing in that little journal. I remember you did the same thing when you lived here. Do you still draw in your journal, Andreas? Option 1 of 2 sometimes, when the mood strikes. Peter says wouldn't that be nice, Jörg, if we only had to work when the whim took us, and we toil all day, and that despicable abbot is starving us all while he sips on his sacramental fucking wine. Big Jörg says lay off him, Dad. He's only just got here. Option 1 of 2 HOW have the fates been treating you these last few years? Option
There's
2
such an
how
obvious
the house
lie.
looks. Option 1 Ursula says cough.
Oh,
Clara
Ursula.
says ugh. The Lord is testing us with another hard season, I'm afraid. Il Peter says that's one way to say it. Been miserable as shit all around. Cough cough. Veronica says maybe you should be resting, Grandpa. Il Peter says if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna do it sitting up at my own goddamn table. Clara says the whole family's been ill, Andreas. Peter, his father, and Ursula with an ague, and me, well. Veronica says Clara lost a child in childbed a year ago now. Option 1 of 3 Do you have any idea what the cause might have been? Veronica says Andreas. Clara says it's all right, Veronica. Agnes suggested it might have been a fright I was given during the flood. Veronica says she was nearly swept away in the flood, then the child came early. Clara says Agnes tried her best to save him, but he had a deformity of the skull and didn't live long. Il Peter says it was monstrous, monstrous.
Don't say that.
Option 1 of 2 Surely the child is with the Lord now. Player says don't think about it. Just keep the conversation going. Option 1 of 2 Dante. Option 2 of 2 you already thinking about. Option 1 of 2 Dante think. Option player says please leave me alone. Just for a while. All right. Just for a while. Option 2 of 2 remain silent. Option 1 Peter says the Lord doesn't seem to look our way any longer. That's why it's time for us to take matters into our own hands. Clara says Veronica, Big Yerks, Ursula, Il Peter says he's right. Veronica says please, can we not talk about this now? Clara says Jörg here was married while you were away, Andreas. Player says really? To whom? Veronica says to me, Andreas. Why else do you think I'm here? Option 1 of 2 of course. You two make a good match. Veronica says Jörg has been good to me. There aren't many other options in Tassing, anyway.
Don't say that in front of
Big Jörg says it's been a couple springs, but I'm still not used to being married. Option 1 of 2 ANY children yet? There's been time enough for it.
Don't ask
Option
that.
2 of 2
Jeez, that's so
congratulations,
rude.
Jörg. I'm happy for
Well,
you.
they, they'll give the information they want to give.
Big Jörg says thanks, Andreas. It's been our one blessing in a dark season. Clara says with children soon to come, I hope. Haha. Veronica says hat. Ursula says what?
Jesus.
I don't get it. Cough. Do you? Casper says
Oh.
Veronica says oh, forget it, Ursula. What have you been up to, Andreas? Option 1 of 3 UGH. Foreign patrons are fussy, and I've spent a fortune trying to keep my ink sweat and canvases dry while traveling. Player says what should I say? My life seems so far from theirs now. Option 2 of 2 Dante leave them waiting. Option 1 of 2 MY mine. Option 2 of 2 Dante leave them waiting. Option player says I can't think of anything. Option 2 of 2 Leave me alone. Option 1 of 2 nothing but my miserable little problems. Player says they'll think you're rude if you don't say something.
Yeah, we should say something.
Option 3 of 3 WELL. I've been so busy with Casper's apprenticeship, I never have any time to myself.
No, let's not talk about how much money
Option
we're
3 of 3 WELL.
spending.
I've been so busy with Casper's. Peter says better not have any children, then. Casper says I do my best to be helpful. Ursula says cough cough. Clara says Ursula, maybe you should excuse yourself and rest. You're sick. Ursula says but mom, I'm still hungry.
Give her some of your food.
Casper says here, Ursula,
Yeah, okay.
you can have
You're
mine.
so sweet.
It's not fair that nobody else gets any bread besides Master Andreas and me. Peter says stop. Ursula says. Peter says Ursula, give it back to him. Clara
No,
says,
just give it to her.
Peter says I'm not going to have people in this town saying we can't feed our goddamned
We're
guests.
not gonna tell that to people.
Big Jörg says. Peter says besides, we all have work to get back to, don't we? Good. Peter says time to get back to it, Andreas. We'll see you and your boy later. Option 1 of 2 my apologies, Peter. We don't mean to overstay our welcome. Clara says it's all right, Andreas. He's just in a bad mood. It was lovely to see you again. Veronica says yes, thank you for coming, Andreas. Will you be staying for St. John's Eve? Option 1 of 2 I think so. Veronica says good. Hopefully we'll see you later. Player says until then. Gertner House. Journal. Town Commons.
Go back to the meadow where
Gertner
that
House.
inn was.
Johann Bauer Farm.
Yeah,
Town Commons. Johann Bauer House. Martin Bauer and Widow Kemperin.
keep going over.
Martin Bauer Church and Druckers. Emily says the sin of Saul. The sin of Saul.
First monarch of the Old Testament, Saul was divinely rejected from the kingship after disobeying the prophet Samuel.
Casper says Master, did you hear that?
It's okay, Casper. It just happens. It's a thing. Don't worry about it.
It sounded like someone crying out. Player says I think it's Sister Emily. She's a mystic. She may be having one of her visions. Sister Emily, are you all right? Emily says the Philistines, this is the hand of God. Compline. Compline. Player says Sister, is something happening at Compline?
Garrick was at 8 p.m. Okay. One of the little hours of prayer, the monks their dormitory shortly after.
Casper
I mean, we have to
says
go
it's
to the
Compline
abbot.
right now.
God.
Emily says no.
No.
Casper says, option 1 of 2 Sister? Sister Emily? Emily says, you're the artist, Andreas. Option 2 of 3 are you all right, Sister? Emily says I'm tired. Was I talking? Option 2 of 3 while you were having a vision. You mentioned the sin of Saul, the Philistines, and Compline. Option 2 of 3 while you were having a vision. You mentioned the sin of Saul, the Philistine. Emily says oh. I wish Father Thomas were here. Player says would you like Casper to go get him? Emily says if he could, yes. His house is just around the corner.
You're gonna be
Player
murdered?
says Casper, run and get Casper says yes, Master Andreas. Emily says your son? Option 2 of 3 my apprentice. Option 1 of 3 my apprentice. Emily says he seems eager to please you. Option 1 of 3 of course. Option 2 of 3 he is quite enthusiastic. Emily says I have little knowledge of the workings of masters and apprentices. Emily says my world is one of spirit, decoupled from the march of life and death.
You live in this? What is that hole?
I see and hear your world turning from this little window, but they are mercifully small glimpses. Option 1 of 2 mercifully small? Emily says this cell allows me to contemplate mysteries without the noise of the outside world polluting my thoughts. Your world is the world of normal lives and normal thoughts. It can be difficult to hear the divine, much less make sense of it. I have no will to be part of that world. I strive to have no will at all, but to subordinate myself to the will of God. When my will is His will, He graces me with visions, confusing though they may be. Option 1 of 4 to join your will, to be intimate with Jesus, as though He were your wedded husband.
I say that?
Emily says. That is a bold thing to say, Master Maler. Where did you hear that? Option 1 of 2 I read it in a book written by an English mystic. Player says I had someone make a translation for me. Emily says I am glad you have an interest in spiritual matters, but these are not words to speak lightly, nor ideas to speak lightly of. The revelations we experience can be terrifying to us and to those who witness us experiencing them. They are not dreams, but waking visions of the greatest divine forces. Option 1 of 2 I am sorry. I did not mean to offend you. Emily says I am not offended, but it is difficult for us to communicate these experiences through the written word. Player says Sister, what is that hole in the ground?
Yeah.
Emily says my grave.
Oh my god.
Option 1 of 3 What? Option 2, option 3 of 3 say nothing. Emily says I dug it before Father Thomas read me my funeral rites, before I was enclosed here. I dig a little more in it each day. Most people find it shocking, but this is my devotion, my vocation. Once someone finds their calling, they must answer it fully. Option 1 of 4 WHAT if the calling is wrong. Option 2 of 4 I don't think it's that simple. Option 3 of 4 oh of course. How could we do otherwise? Emily says we all find ways to stray, by inches or feet. We all have our own course to find through this life, but we all end in the same place. I just had to face this reality earlier than most.
That's fair.
Is
True.
your calling in question,
Mental Mori.
Andreas? Is your life? Option 1 of 2 BOTH, I think. Player says I've lost my love for art. Love for family. Love for anything.
You sound depressed, my god.
The last 7 years have been hard. It was all too much for me. Emily says don't lose hope, Andreas. The human heart is no small thing. It can hold so much, player says. Thomas says Andreas, thank you for sending Casper. Option 2 SHE asked for you. Thomas says are you alright, Sister Emily? Emily says yes, Father. I may have had another vision. Andreas said I spoke of the sin of Saul, Philistines, and Compline. What do you think it means, Father? Thomas says Andreas, Casper, could you excuse us? We appreciate your help, but I must tend to her now in the church. Option 2 of 2. Alright, option 1 of 2 of course. Emily says God bless you both.
Can we listen in?
Casper says Master Andreas, I'm confused.
I'm confused too.
Player says I'm not sure, but the last time I heard Sister Emily have a vision, it was just before the Baron was murdered. Casper says what? Do you think, could Sister Emily be receiving warning? Option 4 of 4 I am skeptical. Option 3 of 4 it is possible, yes. Casper says if someone's going to be murdered, how do we stop it? Option 1 of 3 we just have to keep our eyes open and our wits about us. Player says come, Casper, let's retire for the evening. Journal. Player says the room is sparse compared to what I'm used to.
Okay, we get it, you're rich.
Go to bed, it's getting late, I should get some rest. Option 2 of 2, option 1 of 2 go to sleep.
Oh, they're little nightcaps. They're so cute. Like Ebenezer Scrooge.
Go to bed.
Okay, so yeah, I think I'll end it there. And we'll see what Illuminata is up to at the library. Really intriguing so far. I was wondering what?
Player says did you drop this, Casper? Casper says no, I don't think so, Master. Casper says that script looks beautiful.
It's that same
Master
person.
Andreas.
Okay, maybe it's not the truckers.
Did you write that? Player says you were warned.
Who warned me? Lucky?
Casper says warned? What does that mean? Warned about what?
I don't fucking
Option 1
know.
of 3 IT. Has to do with the murder that happened the last time I was here. Casper says how? I thought they caught the murderer.
Well,
Player says yes, but it's complicated.
it's probably none of those people were
Let's
the
just head up
murderer.
to the library, Casper. Casper says all right, Master.
Yeah. So it's what
Hold
I
his hand in.
suspected. Like I was saying, I don't think any of those people we were talking to were the actual murderer. I think it was whoever we saw running from the Abbey in the dark when we thought it was a ghost. But interested in how this plays out. I hope there is a resolution and we find out who that person was. But yeah, so I'll leave it for next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.